Hey Shark fans, it's Melinda Marsalis. Welcome to Heard It on the Shark. I'll be your show host, and Mississippi Hills National Heritage Area is your show sponsor. Heard It on the Shark is a weekly interview show that airs every Tuesday at 11 a.m. on the Shark 102.3 FM radio station based in Ripley, Mississippi. Then it's released as a podcast on all the major podcast platforms. You'll hear interviews with the movers and shakers in North Mississippi who are making things happen. I'll talk to entrepreneurs, leaders of business, medicine, education, and the people behind all the amazing things happening in North Mississippi. When people ask you, how did you know about that? You'll say, I heard it on the Shark. Heard It on the Shark is brought to you by the Mississippi Hills National Heritage Area. We want you to get out and discover the historic, cultural, natural, scenic, and recreational treasures of the Mississippi Hills that are right in your backyard. And of course, we want you to take the Shark 102.3 FM along for the ride. Musical credit belongs to Hill Country Blues guitar legend Gary Burnside and the late great Buddy Grisham, playing Long Way Home from their album Acoustic Brothers, which was recorded at Sun Bear Studio in Ripley, Mississippi.
This program was recorded at Sun Bear Studio in Ripley, Mississippi.
Hey, Shark fans, this is Melinda with a special Heard It on the Shark interview that's going to end with an opportunity for you to win some cool tickets. Today, you're going to hear my conversation with Grammy award-winning musician, producer, and composer Don Was. My husband actually said to me, oh my gosh, you get to interview Don Was. I'm so dumb. I don't know how awesome that is, but he did. So, Don, I hope you'll forgive me for that.
I'm honored to speak with you.
Don has produced albums for the Rolling Stones, Bob Dylan, Bonnie Raitt, and Willie Nelson, just to name a few. In 2018, he began touring with the Grateful Dead guitarist Bob Weir, and now he's formed a new band called Don Was and the Pan Detroit Ensemble. This ensemble's made up of a bunch of fantastic jazz musicians from Don's hometown of Detroit, Michigan, and they are on tour and they're celebrating two things: the band's debut album called Groove in the Face of Adversity and the 50th anniversary of this 1975 Grateful Dead album called Blues for Allah or Allah. On Thursday, January 22nd, they're going to be in concert over at the iconic, beautiful Princess Theater in downtown Decatur, Alabama. And at the end of our interview, we're going to give you guys a chance to win a pair of tickets to the concert by texting the secret code word that I'm going to give you later to 662-587-6997. So, Don, we're recording this interview on New Year's Eve, so Happy New Year's to you, and thanks for taking time for me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to speak with you.
I heard you're about to get on a plane.
I am, yeah. We're going to get started. We're going to rehearse some songs and get this tour going.
Yeah, okay. So I did a little research yesterday, and I found out that you have this debut album, Groove in the Face of Adversity, which is, I think that's going to be my theme for 2026.
At one of our last shows, someone came up to me and they had it tattooed on their arm. From the album title.
No kidding. It's perfect. You know, everybody picks a theme or a word for the year. That's going to be my word, Groove in the Face of Adversity. I love it. So it debuted you released it in October. Are you happy with how it's gone so far?
Oh, yeah, no, it's great. We're out on a 6-week tour in the United States, which is really nice. You know what? When I started playing with Bob Weir, I got out of the studio and it reminded me how much I miss, playing live in front of people every night. And I wish I could play 300 shows a year. There's just something about it. When you're in the studio, you're producing records. There's it's a lot of fun and there's great energy to it. But there's nothing like getting out on a stage and getting emotional feedback from the audience, energy back immediately. And it actually affects the next note you choose to play. And when you get that kind of exchange of energy going, and especially with a Grateful Dead fan, you get this kind of collective euphoria going between the audience and the band, and you can blow the roof off the place with that. It's a great thrill every night.
I just love that. Okay, now I did read on your website how you got the album title. Do you mind telling our Shark fans about that?
I will say, I was 14 in 1966. Right? I was driving around with my mom. She's making me run errands with her. This is back in Detroit. And I was just being a terrible little kid. I was 14 and I wanted to be at the mall hanging out with my friends. So she got disgusted with me, left me in the car with the keys and said, just listen to the radio. And I was messing with the dial. And I didn't know anything about jazz, but I didn't even know there was a jazz station in Detroit. But I landed on the station just as a saxophone player, who I later learned was a guy named Joe Henderson, was starting a solo of a song called Mode for Joe. And he started with these kind of anguished cries. Like I'd never heard a sound like that from a saxophone before. But it matched my mood exactly, being stuck driving around with my mom all day on set. I don't know what Joe was upset about, but he was speaking my language anyway. But what happens is about 20 seconds into the song, he stops making these anguish sounds, and he just starts grooving. The drummer kicks in, and I thought he was speaking to me. I thought he was saying, Don, you got to groove in the face of adversity. Be nicer to your mom and stop being a jerk, right? And it just stuck with me. When my mom got back in the car a couple of minutes later, my mood had changed around 180 degrees, and I recognized that it was music that made it happen. The power of music to change your mindset so completely. So that wasn't lost on me, even at the age of 16.
That's great. Now, okay, and around here, we understand Muscle Shoals sound. We know what that means because of where we live, and we understand Hill Country Blues as opposed to, say, Delta Blues or Memphis Blues. We hear the difference, people around here, even me. And so can you kind of describe the difference? What makes jazz from Detroit different than other jazz?
Well, I think there's something. Well, first of all, just after World War II, people came from all over the world to work in the auto factories there, and they brought their cultures with them. So we grew up in a musical jambalaya. There was everything, and everything was influenced by everything. So there is a unique flavor to it. I would say this: it's a working class town, a very unpretentious town. There's no when everyone's fate is tied up with one industry. There's really no point in putting on any airs. I certainly didn't know any people who rented a Mercedes to impress their friends when I was a kid, because there's no point in doing that. Everyone knew that we were all in the same boat. So you get a very honest music. I think it's best exemplified by a guy like John Lee Hooker, who was raw and honest, and he grooved like crazy. You thought the music was so sloppy it was maybe going to fall apart, but it never stopped grooving, and he never stopped being real. And that's what the whole city feels like to me. So when you hear like the rock and roll that came out of Detroit, Mitch Ryder, the MC5, the Stooges, Bob Seger, these were all local bands when I was in high school. Or even, going through to the White Stripes or the music that's coming out of there today. It's raw, and it grooves like crazy. If you listen to the Stooges or the MC5, the drums and the bass are basically playing Motown stuff. It's got an R&B pulse. I think that's why Mitch Ryder was such an influential musician, because he formed a garage band that sounded like white kids playing guitars, but he sounded like he was black the way he was singing. And I don't think they had white rock and roll bands like that before. So it's a very unique blend of things, but it certainly resonates all over the world, not just the rock and roll, but the R&B, Motown and Fortune Records and George Clinton, Jay Dilla, and the jazz too. An incredible number of legendary and influential jazz musicians came out of Detroit.
Which I'm always so re-shocked every time I start to prepare for an interview, and I find out there's this whole world out there that I did not really I never stopped to think about. So when I started preparing for this interview, I was like, why are they covering the Grateful Dead? Because what does a jazz band have to do with the Grateful Dead? But then yesterday I played a couple of songs from that Grateful Dead album, Blues for Allah, and then I played a couple of songs from your Groove in the Face of Adversity, side by side, and I was like, okay. And it's just exactly what you said earlier. you're in such a groove listening to it, you forget what day it is, you forget where you are, and then all of a sudden it comes back together and the song's over. Is that kind of what people can expect at your concert?
I think that's exactly right. That's a very astute observation. And it's, I don't know any musicians who get up and think, all right, I think right now I'm going to play a blues lick, and then 4 bars later I'll throw in this rock lick, and then I'll do something kind of. You just play what's in your head, You just are recycling everything. It's a sum total of everything you've absorbed so far in life, and so I think most musicians don't draw a line with genre. I don't really know how to categorize my band. We play all kinds. We play rock and roll clubs. New York for jazz audiences. We just play everything, but I think people respond to music. I think genres are good for organizing record stores.
Yes,
if you want to find something,
absolutely.
But I just think there's something universal that happens when you start playing certain combinations of notes back for people. It resonates real deeply, and I've been doing this a long time and making records for a long time, and the more experienced I get, the older I get, I realize that it's all very mysterious. We don't know anything. We just get up there and start playing notes.
Yes.
But the way people respond to it is beautiful and mysterious.
Yes, I agree with you. There's something so mysterious and wonderful about live music. And I know people are going to love, whoever wins these tickets is really lucky. They're going to get to go and not have to pay. That'll be even better. But I know they're going to enjoy this concert over in Decatur, Alabama. So thank you for taking time to talk to us. Hey, would you give us a code word for what they're going to text in to me to win? You just pick something you think.
Well, I think you hit on it. It's got to be groove, right?
Okay, groove. All right, code word is groove. Shark fans, y'all heard it. So you're going to text in groove. Don, thank you so much. Good luck with your tour. Good luck with your album.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for having me on, and I'm really looking forward to being at the Princess Theater. It's going to be good. Going to be a gas.
Okay, Shark fans, you've been listening to the great Don Was. If you don't win today, be sure to head over to princesstheater.org and pick up your tickets to see Don Was in the Pan Detroit Ensemble on January 22nd at the Princess Theater in Decatur, Alabama. We're going to play Fire on the Mountain by the Grateful Dead next. The first one to text a groove to 662-587-6997 when the music starts, you're going to win a pair of tickets. Don, thanks so much.
Thank you. Pleasure to speak with you, Melinda.
The Mississippi Hills National Heritage Area was established by the United States Congress in 2009 and represents a distinctive cultural landscape shaped by the dynamic intersection of Appalachian and Delta cultures. This intersection has produced a powerful concentration of nationally significant cultural icons, including King of Rock and Roll Elvis Presley, First Lady of Country Music Tammy Wynette, blues legend Howlin' Wolf, civil rights icons Ida B. Wells Barnett and James Meredith, America's favorite playwright Tennessee Williams, and Nobel laureate William Faulkner. The stories of the Mississippi Hills are many and powerful, from music and literature to Native American and African American heritage to the Civil War. The Mississippi Hills National Heritage Area supports the local institutions that preserve and share Northeast Mississippi's rich heritage. Begin your discovery of the historic, cultural, natural, scenic, and recreational treasures of our region by visiting the Mississippi Hills National Heritage Area online at mississippiHills.org.